Hello, everybody. This is Tom Painter again. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. So excited to have Kurt Mortensen in the house today. We're going to be talking about side hustle secrets. 5 steps to financial freedom. Number one is you need to learn how to make more money at your job as well as your small business. That's crucial. You have to make more money because the inflation around the world, it's costing more money to live, and everybody's taking your money. We need to make more money, and then we need to make that money grow. But step number 6 is multiple streams of income. We need to take our small business and turn it into a large business, and we need to add real estate. That's step number 6, multiple streams of income. And so we want to talk about that as side hustle secrets. We need to make more money. You got to make more money, and we're playing a game. So let's go play the game and have some fun. So if you want to bring Kurt out right now, Kurt, if you're there, I'm going to let you come on out and let's talk about side hustle secrets and maybe the law of contrast. Kurt, take it away.
All right, Success and Money World, welcome back as we talk about side hustle secrets, things you need to do, of course, to get a business, grow your business, have a business, excel at your business. All those are very important. And there's 4 areas that we tend to focus on these. The first one's mindset. That's the way you're thinking. You got to program your brain for wealth and success. Second one is your core competence. Whatever you do, you have to be good. You have to be an expert. So you have to know your business, how to run that type of business. Okay. Next one is influence skills. That's what we're focusing on today. Being more influential. And of course, the way you present yourself, presentation skills. I might even say charisma can be very helpful to you, where people want to do what you want them to do and like doing it. So let's focus on the influence side. So let's talk about the law of contrast. How to create that extra value. It's what you're looking for. You get what you pay for. What are they comparing it to? Are they comparing your product or service to a used car or to a Rolls Royce? Right? You get to choose. What is the difference? Used car, Rolls Royce. That's the thing. We all fight about price. What about price? What about price? Only 6% of things we buy are bought on price. 6%. You go to McDonald's every day. You don't buy the cheapest food. Maybe you do, but most people, they don't. Now, 67% of the time when you hear it's too expensive, they're usually lying to you, so there's a disconnect. So when you get to your price, you've got to put it into perspective where they're like, oh, that's a great deal. Even if they can't afford it, they know it's a good deal. That's the key. That is what you're looking for. Good example would be Starbucks, right? They're all over the world. I haven't seen a country that doesn't have a Starbucks. The coffee, right? So what did they do? So the perception of a cup of coffee when they came on the market was maybe 25 to 50 cents. I mean, that's what you go. You go to a convenience store, you go to a donut shop, that's where you get your coffee. 2 choices, leaded and unleaded, or we can say calf and decaf. So what did they do? Because you don't want to comparing going to a 7-Eleven or a donut shop to what Starbucks. What did they do to change your perception of value, of price, to get you to pay 10 times more for a cup of coffee? What did they do? They changed the names. There's no small being large, it's grande. All right? And it wasn't just 2 options. It was almost like a winery, different parts of the world. You got choices, you got things you can add in. You've got a barista, somebody creating it for you, writing your name on the cup. You get to carry the Starbucks cup around. So they're creating this masterpiece for you. The ambiance, it's not dirty, it's clean, it's well lit, high ceilings, place to hang out, free Wi-Fi. That made a big difference. A lot of social validation with there always being a line, people wanting it. They changed this. I can't compare going to a convenience store and getting a cup of coffee to what Starbucks has done. And you have to do the same thing. Just own it. When people say it's too expensive, you've blown your presentation. Let's give you some tools to put those type of things into perspective. So what is the law of contrast? Well, it's how we are affected seeing 2 different alternatives in quick succession. And we look at those 2 and we compare them or contrast to each other, and that changes our perception of things. Let me give you an example. It's all based on perception. Your car's making funny sounds, smoke, noises, you're worried, you go to the mechanic, and the mechanic says, all right, I'll take a look at it. You're like, well, how much is it going to cost? He's like, oh, well, I don't know, a couple $100. And so you leave, you go to lunch, come back, and it wasn't a couple $100, it was a couple $1,000. Like, whoa, you're kind of mad. Now, what if the mechanic knows about the law of contrast? Would say something like this. Say, well, I'm smelling this, I'm hearing this, I'm looking at this. I don't think this car's worth fixing. And you're like, oh, geez, I have to buy a $20,000 car. You say, yeah, you better go shop for a car. I'll look at it, see what I can do. So you're thinking new car, and it come back, it's a couple $1,000s. Same price, two different reactions. That's what you want the perception to be, how they compare your product or service. Your idea, is this a Rolls Royce? Is this a Ferrari? Or is this just a used clunky car you can get anywhere? That's how you do it. That's how you focus on it. What people do is they benchmark. They need to compare what you're doing, what you're selling, what you have to something else. That could be their past experience, their knowledge. That is what the brain does. They have to compare. Again, used car, Rolls Royce. What is this? If I show you a CD, here's a CD, right? Remember these? Now, you have to compare it to someone. How much would you spend on something like this? And you get a lot of different reactions. Some people say, I don't even have a computer that will play a CD. Okay? That's one comparison. Some might say, well, it's blank a penny. Some might say, well, it's a book on audio. All right, well, that's worth $20. It's Kurt's voice. There we go. That's priceless. But what about would you spend $1,000 for this? And most people say no. Well, if it's software, that's going to make you $10,000 a month, or save you $20,000 a month, or 50 hours a week, then it's worth it. All on the CD, different reactions, different comparisons. So what about in negotiation? You have to give yourself some wiggle room, right? You can't start exactly where you need to be. Some people in negotiations don't want to play the game. If you don't play the game, you're going to lose the game. You have to give yourself some room. So you have to start at a number that's high or low to give yourself some room without getting into the insult zone. It's interesting here, too, when you look at numbers, that odd numbers are more persuasive than even numbers. If you say, oh, it's $10,000 versus $997.17, whatever. In fact, when it ends in the number 7, it's always more persuasive. So numbers are an interesting thing. But with negotiation, same type of thing. You've got to start where you give yourself room to wiggle, room to negotiate, because if you start exactly at your lowest, there's nowhere to go. And that's the expectation with negotiation. You have to start really high, really low, without getting into that insult zone, obviously. You have to prove your numbers, making it an odd number. That's one thing you can do. Next one, suit companies. What do? They show you the most expensive item first. See, when you've spent $500 for a suit, what's $50 for a tie? That's adjusting perception. You wouldn't start with the tie. Normally, I'm not going to spend $50 on a tie, but all right, $100 for the shoes and this. They just keep adding on. So when you buy a car, for example, they just slowly add on undercoating, or add this and do this warranty a little bit at a time, a little bit at a time. Another one, auto insurance, for example. Any type of insurance does this, to where okay, well, you want some insurance? How many kids do you have? What are you doing? All right, that'll be $500 a month. And you're like, what? And they're like, wait a minute, your kids are on the honor roll. Takes them off. Oh, you're healthy, right? You're a non-smoker. You do this. Takes them off. So you're getting $500 in value where they started, and you might get it down to $350. Whatever the amount is, that's how they do it. Another example, it's not just money, weight loss pictures. If you ever watch an infomercial or commercial, they'll show the person in black and white, leaning over, belly hanging out, frowning. That's the before picture. They want it as rotten, fuzzy, and ugly as possible. Now, what they do at the after picture right now, their belly's gone, they're standing, they're smiling, probably in color. Subtle little things, but it makes a huge difference between a before and after picture. Let me give you another, I say, silly example. Dear mom and dad, when I teach persuasion on the college level, this is actually one of the assignments where they're supposed to write home asking for money. Okay? So write home asking for money, and I want them to use the law of contrast so the parents read they want money, like, whoo, take it, versus, oh, we can't do that, it's too much, you're always asking for money. Here's an example from a daughter to her parents asking for money. Dear Mom and Dad, I hope this letter finds you both well and happy. I wish I could say that is how I feel. I know you love me, but it's hard to come to you in such an embarrassing situation. Now, I don't want to worry too much. I can see Mom now already skimming through the letter to find out exactly what is wrong. So I guess I'll cut right to the chase. I'm really worn out, but I'm getting better. At least I have a place to stay, especially during this cold winter weather. The last couple of weeks I've been sleeping on the streets looking for food and shelter. I finally met this nice man who's let me stay in his room for free. It sure is nice to have a roof over my head. Sometimes I still get wet at night though because there's a crack in the wall on my side of the bed. But with 5 of us sharing the room, we've got some body heat going and that helps out. We hope that between the 5 of us we can make rent this month. They sure have been nice letting me stay here and letting me keep out of sight. Seems like there's some type of warrant out for me and I'm unfortunately on the run, as they say. I'm afraid I can't tell you exactly where I am. I don't want to endanger you with too much information in case the authorities come to question you. As you may guess, I'm in a desperate need for a large sum of funding so that I can settle my accounts before another more ruthless party begins to hunt me down. I was hoping for, but not counting on your assistance. I know I've done wrong, but I plead for your forgiveness and prayers. Just kidding. I wanted you to see my problems in the proper perspective. I crashed my car last weekend. No one was hurt. I did have $300 in damage to my car, though. I was wondering if you could send me the money so I can get back on my feet. Love you forever, Jill. Now, they're not allowed to send the letters. It's just an example. I won't go into the ethics of that, but now it went from, no way, we're not giving you money, to like, take it, take it. That puts things into perspective. Another example is supermarkets. Any type of pricing where it shows the extra 20% you get, it actually shows. Or if you went to buy anything where it says, like a dress, for example, if it goes down in sale reduction, they leave the original price on there for a reason so you can compare and contrast it. That's the same thing at the supermarket with anything where they just put the older prices on there or they'll put the original price and have it slashed. That puts it in perspective. That shows you that you're getting, it's a subconscious trigger, a good deal. Another example, candy stores. If you buy chocolate by the pound, they pour too much on, they start taking away. You start to feel like, wait a minute, they feel like violated. Now if they put some more on, a little more, a little more, a little more, same pound of chocolate, 2 different reactions. See this at restaurants like delis where they weigh your meat and start taking it away. Like, whoa, 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 getting the same amount, 2 different reactions. Another one, airline delays. They don't say, yeah, 5 hours. Oh, half hour here, doing this, change the gate here, another half hour here, 45 minutes here. Why? Because the reaction's a little bit at a time instead of a lot at a time. It just, the brain handles that better, especially if you're going to be delivering bad news. A little bit at a time is more persuasive than a lot bit at a time. So let's talk about adjusting values examples. For example, bonuses. 3 bonuses worth $25 each have more value than to get 1 bonus worth $75. Product. Having all your product arrive in 1 box is less value than receiving 3 separate shipments. Amazon does that all the time. Retail. High price at the grocery store increases the perception of value and savings when the savings is shown on the receipt. Cars. We feel like we get a better deal on a car when we see the large retail price and get a rebate. Payments. It's easier to swallow the monthly payments on a large purchase rather than seeing the whole price tag up front. And that's a big shift and something you need to understand. It's not a good shift. Well, might be good for you, is that consumers quit thinking about the whole big price. Now they think of monthly payments. 3 easy payments, 5 easy payments, something to think about, something that you can use. Gas. Getting a 10-cent discount when you pay cash is easier to swallow than a 10-cent surcharge for using your credit card. That's why gas stations, when they first started using credit cards, it was a credit card surcharge, and it didn't work. Why would I want a surcharge? They switched it up. Now there's a cash discount, and the credit card is the normal price. Now, another one let's talk about is reduce it to the ridiculous. This is an easy tool that you can add to put things into perspective. Now, you don't want to be too ridiculous here, so what you're saying is, for 17 minutes a day, for less than a cup of coffee a day, for the can of soda a week, for an extra $100 a month. The difference between a $250,000 and $500,000 policy, what we're talking about is 77 cents a day. That puts it into perspective. You could do that with time, with energy, with resources, because when people say it's too expensive, I don't have the time, it's just a knee-jerk reaction. This is putting things into perspective. So it's like, oh, that makes sense. For 2 minutes a week, all these things you can put into play easy. Now, another tool, it's called sweetening the pot. I didn't name it, but that's what it's called, where you can triple the value by sweetening the pot. So this is what you see on infomercials when they say, but wait, there's more. Because you'll see something, you're like, oh, I'd pay $50 for that. They start at $200. They are coming down, monthly payments. And then there's the bonuses. But wait, there's more. And people like the bonuses. Well, why just for the bonuses? The other things, great. But wait, there's more. Here's a study. This was a fundraiser, a bake sale. The first day they said you get 1 cupcake and 2 cookies for 75 cents, let's say, and 40% bought. Now the next day they said you get 1 cupcake plus 2 cookies as a bonus worth 75 cents, plus the cupcakes were 75 cents. It went from 40% to 70%. I mean, logically it's the same deal, but it's a perspective. Buy one, get one free. That could put things into perspective too. We're like, oh, buy 2, get 3 free, whatever it is, things that you can do to really change how people feel about time, energy, resources. You put anything into perspective using the law of contrast. And my favorite tool, DITF, or door in the face. This is using negotiation. I talked a little bit about that. Basically a large, unreasonable request, no, and then you come back with a slightly smaller request. Usually in persuasion and influence, when you start the persuasion process, you want the yeses. Especially negotiation, get a couple no's out of the way. Trained negotiators won't say yes until they've given you at least 3 no's. So this is the time when you're putting things in perspective, want to get the no's out of the way before you start the persuading, getting the yeses. This is what door in the face is. Here's an example at a blood drive. This went up to people, hey, will you donate blood today? And 31% did. But when they use door in the face, hey, will you donate blood every 2 months for the next 3 years? They're like, no. Will you at least donate today? Went from 31% to 49%. Put it in perspective. Hey, you got 2 hours? No. Can you give me 10 minutes? You can do it with time, resources, energy. Works well with teenagers. Put things into perspective. That is what you're looking for. Hey, if they give you 2 hours, take it. If not, back up, take 10 minutes. It's easier to get that yes after that no. All right, another example. So at college, we go up to people and say, hey, will you do a 15-minute survey? And 25% agreed, but then they used the door in the face, said, hey, we do a 2-hour survey. No. Will you at least give us 15 minutes? 50% said yes. See that it went from 25 to 50%, doubled the compliance, the yeses, by starting at a spot, getting the no out of the way, getting some of that resistance out of the way, and coming back with an easier request. Hey, what do you join the committee? No, people are like, wait a minute, do I want to join the committee? They're thinking so much time, hey, it's just 5 minutes a week. If you're meeting once a month, that is perspective. Now, here is another tool. I call it shifting focus. Hotels do this. They shift the focus, they put it on you. They make it your fault. You're like, what? So you go to a hotel that says, hey, you really want clean sheets? You really want us to make up your room every day? You really want clean towels every day? That's the laundry detergent, the water, it hurts our environment. Well, we'll give it to you if you really want to, but we're hoping to save the environment, and you feel guilty. They're saving money. That's one example. Another one, University of Colorado, put up signs that said, don't walk on the grass. And it didn't work. It changed the perspective to give Earth a chance. That's shifting focus. Newman's Own, right? When there's a cause or a charity, call it cause marketing, people are willing to pay more. People pay extra because they know it's going to a good cause, a good charity. Cause marketing could be another way to change perspective. So how do you use this? Start as high or low as you can. I mean, be realistic. Get the no out of the way. That's going to be the focus here. So start as high or as low without getting into that insult zone as you can. That's why cars have that retail price, that sticker. Everything's out there piece by piece, what everything is worth. Then there's the timing. It has to be presented sequentially, meaning this has to be in the same meeting, the same presentation. You can't do one now and one 2 weeks later because it's got to be instant. We're comparing two things back to back. That's how it works. So the timing is very important. It can't be 2 weeks later, 2 months later. It has to be in the same presentation, same engagement. Now, would you spend $1 to buy $100? Here's a $100 bill right here. Would you do that? I've done this in live seminars before. People come running up. You give me $1 for $100. Well, that's what? You crazy? Will people do that? They'll do it all day long because it's an example. When you're getting $200 in value, you'll spend $20. But you're spending $20 for $20 and you're spending $200 for something you're not sure that'll work. That's what you got to compare this to, is to where if they feel like they're spending $1 to get a $100 bill, then the purchase is easy. The yes is easy, and that's what you want to focus on. And then I'll take that same dollar and turn it around and sell it for $100. I'll get it back. How? Well, I'll add some value, some bonuses, some coaching from me, some products, books, whatever it is, and then it becomes easy to say yes. Then there's J&D. What is that? Just noticeable difference. That's if you heard the term shrinkflation. You really don't know they took out the best ingredient or part of it. You really can't tell the difference between 18 ounces and 17 ounces. The yogurt cups are all concave. They're taking less out. So they're trying to make it look the same. They don't want to make the box smaller. That's what's called shrinkflation. So does this backfire? Sure, you could be crazy, say too much, go too big, too small. I think the key here is make sure you don't get into the insult zone where you're being so ridiculous. Back it up. If I was going to go talk real estate, I would back it up. Here are my comparables. Here's the formula. Here's the industry. This is what society does. Here are other people that have purchased. So you can use that type of thing. Let them know the number didn't just come out of the air. It's something that's legitimate. So let's do a case study. I was working with a client to increase sales of their high-end products. This AV company had two options for their equipment. They had their basic product that sold well, but the higher end, the most profitable product, was not selling as well. The company tried sales and consumer intercepts to sell more of their higher end product. It helped, but not as much as they wanted. They felt the higher price option was better for the consumer and had a better value. So what would be the solution here? What would you do in this situation? Well, back to perception. Some people buy the cheapest one. Some people buy most expensive. Most people buy the one in the middle. So we added an even more expensive product, added a lot of value to it. So that was the most expensive product. Now the one in the middle that we wanted to sell the more of, right? The one that was the most expensive now is in the middle, started to sell better. So that's kind of perception, and it looks like a better value because it's not the most expensive. Someone will just buy the most expensive, and that's fine if that's what you want them to do, which of course you do. So what is your homework? Let's work on sweeten the pot. This is the easiest, quickest, fastest way to put more value in your product, your service, what you're asking them to do. So can you add a free report, free delivery, gift wrapping, extended warranty, a free consult, a bonus, something of value that doesn't cost you a lot of money, a free coaching session? What can you do to, number one, prove your worth, but add value? But it has to have value to them. Don't just find things in your garage and give them away. What can you do that has high value, low cost for you, no cost for you, might take you a little time, that you can add to put it in perspective? Because when you put everything, you get 5 things for this. No, keep it separate, but wait, there's more. Here are the bonuses. That can be very, very helpful. So that is the law of contrast. Use it. That's your homework. Make a difference. Now remember, when they say it's too expensive, own up. It's probably a lie. You've blown your presentation. Master the law of contrast. Now again, Success and Money family, this is not a time to say, oh, that was nice. Do the homework, work through it. These are proven scientific principles that work. Where we become more persuasive, more influential, you can sell better. Hey, that is a key thing you need to have that side hustle, to have that business that makes a big difference. So work on it. Let me know if you have any questions. Hey, tell your family and friends about the foundation. Come to the live classes. We'll watch the videos. Make a difference. And go out and make the world a better place.
Thanks, Kurt. What I love about what Kurt teaches that it fits right into the 7 steps. Number one, you've got to learn how to make more money. You do that with your job and you do it with a side hustle. There's lots of reasons to have a side hustle. One is to teach your kids how to make money. Number two, there's all kinds of tax benefits and to make an extra stream of income. But the key is to do number one and number six. Number six is multiple streams of income. Turn that small business into a large business. And you need to do that with your side hustles and your small business to a large business as well as real estate. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll be right back.